Dear friends, good evening. My name is Marisol Struan and I am the founder and director of the American School for the Development of Emotional Balance. My profession has been neuropsychoeducation for many years and I dedicate myself to offer courses, workshops and personal attention to our clients. Today we are going to deal with a topic of enormous importance and that will help us a lot to achieve a state of constructive serenity. We will learn the art and science of creating and maintaining positive emotions. We had lived too long accustomed to dealing with negative emotions that cause us so much harm. Now we will shift the dial to the opposite polarity and study how positive emotion, meaning the opposite pair of each negative emotion, can not only be felt but also created and maintained over time until the negative schema of our personality is almost completely eradicated. We must not forget that emotional balance, together with freedom, are the greatest values of the human race and therefore must be consciously cultivated and sustained. Without further ado, we will begin to address this delicate subject that can modify our whole life. So that is why we are now going to share a short video to give a glimpse on this matter. Let's start with the screen sharing function. Wait a minute, please. Well, well, let's continue now. Positive emotion, the art and science of creating and maintaining them. What's the meaning of all this? Okay, let's continue. First of all, the American School for the Development of Emotional Balance would like to welcome you all to the course. But this course, remember this, it is not only a course or a class. This is a training and discipline. This is very important for you to know. So let's continue. What are positive emotions? What's the meaning of them? They are states of consciousness that lead us to harmony and peace. They are a state of consciousness that will lead us to harmony and peace. Remember this very well because it is very important. Let's see this. Anything that does not lead us to these states is not a positive emotion. Anything that does not lead us to these states is not a positive emotion. If a thing leads you to any subject that don't give to us harmony and peace, may be attractive, very attractive, but there is not a positive emotion. It's a very important issue to make clear. They make up what in neuroscience has been called the family of happiness. There are family of many things. Family of terror, family of phobias, family of envy, family of rage. This is the family of happiness, the best one. So, which are the three main characteristics of positive emotions? Okay, the first one, they do not distort reality as it happens with negative emotion, but on the contrary, they allow us a crystalline appreciation of it, thus allowing us to modify it without much of effort. Second one, consequently, they do not tarnish our capacity of judgment, but on the contrary, they lead us to evaluate all situations with full knowledge of the facts. That with negative emotion, this is impossible. Third one, therefore, They not only do not produce harm because their nature is pristine, but they also help us to free ourselves from all the negative and confusing thoughts caused by destructive emotions. Remember all these things. But the great secret is that positive emotions can be created for our inner powerhouse, which is the inner source that gives us life, movement, health, intelligence, to the outside, from the inner powerhouse to the outside. That is create an emotion, a positive one. The correct word is to bring them out from within. Means to say to attract them to the conscious sphere. Understanding this implies a real paradigm shift in the search of constructive serenity. That is the goal to achieve, the target. Okay, in other words, we are going to explore the brilliant suggestion of being blissful. Bring blissful. Bring rejoice to our life. But in that inner powerhouse is everything we need to be happy and to feel fulfilled. That's why it's so important this. But we have kept this knowledge under seven locks, always turning to the outside and allowing ourselves to fall prey to all negative emotion where the gale of confusion, pain, anger, and envy and all negative vibration rage. So, what's the meaning of this? Thus we have lived lost for millennia as strangers who don't know where to go. Okay, but the main question is, this is a very important question, it's a root. Do we want to continue like this? Because many people want to continue like this because it is in their comfort zone. They feel safe in that mess. Listen to this. Let's take the answer to this question very seriously because many people fearful of leaving their comfort zone, which although negative, is the only one they know, and in which they feel safe, do not allow themselves to undertake a study that could lead them to inner freedom. But as always, the decision is up to each one of us, and we must make it with full freedom and conscience and without fear. When you are born in a positive emotion, you do not feel fear. Because what will happen if we decided, for instance, to stay in a comfort zone? Because it is the only I know, because I am afraid to go outside, because everything is falling over my head. That's why the people want to stay in the comfort zone. But listen to this. Negative emotion reduce people's perspective and weaken them, permanently enslaving them. And they keep them focused on the specific problems of the present, the conflicted situations of the past, and the vicissitudes and fear for the future. In this way, people live on their knees in front of their doubts, their personal problems, their endless debts, their illnessness, their panics and confusion, and always locked in the same problems, ever in the circle of the same problems, unable to get out of this vicious circle, only for lack of adequate knowledge on how to maneuver these issues. So, what to do? Knowledge. Positive emotion, on the other hand, broaden our attention and expand our thoughts. Thus, they allow us to develop creativity and thus exponentially increase our chances of success because they not only encourage us to act, but are fertile ground for detecting new perspectives and opportunities. In this way, they increase our capacity to commit ourselves to new projects, new ideas, and to approach new studies and knowledge that until now we could not contact because we were totally blinded to them. Consequently, they also increase our motivation and awaken the inner genius that exists always in each of us. In each of us. This is very important to know too. So, we are going to see how are the main positive emotions with this wonderful picture of white plumeria in the screen, on the screen. So, we are going to say which are the main positive emotions that they are joy, rejoice, bliss, they are synonyms, repose, gratitude, relief, serenity, fulfillment, hope, power of wonder, the best of the positive emotions, one of the best, inspiration, empathy, dynamism, creativity, indanability, curiosity. This is very important. Is the gate to the positive, to all positive emotion, the curiosity and the enthusiasm, admiration, satisfaction, peace of mind, and enthusiasm like another way to enter. And mainly emotions are the mother of the family of happiness. Bliss, rejoice, joy, equanimity, serenity, empathic joy, constructive compassion. Listen to this. There is afflictive compassion or destructive compassion. We are going to see this very clearly, not now, but very clearly in the future. The compassion has to be constructive. Then spiritual peace, and the last one, unconditional love, the higher of them, the very important one, but has to be unconditional love. Not this love, this kind of love that we call love, that is pure egotism. I want this for me. I want to control everything for the other person. No, this is not unconditional love at all. The very positive emotion, the main important is unconditional love. So, what will this training provide us with? First, positive emotion has the intrinsic power to quickly push negativity out of our lives as they are part for our light structure that is inside us. Therefore, the more positive emotion we experience in a day, the less likely we are to be invaded by negative thoughts. Just as light pushes away darkness and allow us to see, so positive emotion push away conflict, illnesses, depressions, phobias, because the light emitted by them does not let them come. So simply as that. It does not let them come. Always remember this, which is the most important thing of all. B. No. Number two is the same. The immune system strengthens itself because the main weakener of the immune system is precisely the accumulation of negativity that we always carry with us, as if it were a heavy backpack. Positive emotion activate very important brain neurotransmitters, such as oxytocin, which produces confidence, serotonin, which produces tranquility, the dopamine, which produces pleasure, and mainly endorphins, the great supporters of joy. That is why the positive person is even neuronally protected against diseases, since these neurotransmitters form a defense barrier in itself. And the third one, positive emotion has an incredible strength per se, in itself. It allows us to overcome negativity because it has a higher vibration than negative emotion, which are of very low vibration and are slower and weaker, although at first glance it may seem otherwise. When positive emotions become a habit, they create a permanent state and thus allow us to create a virtuous circle of creativity, of strength, of decisiveness, and the ability to move forward no matter how difficult the external environment is. And precisely because of this, many negative things will no longer come close to us because they have been filtered by this powerful containment mesh and then eradicated almost permanently from our life. That's the goal to reach, that's the target. Therefore, being positive is the best investment we can make as it involves creating a true immune system against all negativity. What does this training lead to? We have an Spanish word there, dinamismo, which is this: to encourage personal dynamism to achieve and maintain a state of balanced wholeness. Now it's time to say goodbye. And in the next class, we will move from theory to practice and create our first positive emotion that will be bliss, the joy. Until then, I wish you a beautiful week full of wonders and, of course, full of positive emotion. Until then, have a great time. Bye bye.